Okay. Good morning, all. Okay. Good morning, all. Today we will start the third unit of public administration. Yeah, the third unit is constitutional framework. Constitutional framework of Indian administration. 1 minute. Okay. Constitutional framework of Indian administration. Here we will learn about some silent features of Indian constitution and some constitutional bodies. Coming to some of the silent features. Coming to some of the silent features of the Constitution, here we learn and discuss about some of the federal structures, parliamentary system, rule of law, and sovereignty, which also include some of the features like written constitution, like partly rigid and partly flexible, a democratic republic, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, fundamental duties, secular state, parliamentary system of government, quasi-unitary and quasi-federal, single citizenship, and independent judiciary. And next, constitutional bodies. What are the constitutional bodies? Like Election Commission, UPSC, Finance Commission, CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General, local governments, the commissions for SCs, STs, and BCs. Coming to some of the silent features of the Indian Constitution. After independence, India has framed its own constitution. This constitution reflects the shape, scope, locus, and focus of the government in the form of various provisions which are seen in the screen. Okay, why these features is necessary? Because for the smooth and effective governance of the affairs of the state. State means that is a country. Like most of these prospects has been taken from the Government of India Act 1935 and from other constitutional and some other international constitutions. But we had some distinct and retained and unique features compared to other constitutions in the world. We know that India is the largest written constitution in the world. We know that the constitution is the supreme law of authority. It is a living document and instrument that makes the system work. It means it is a basic of the government. It lays down the framework defining the fundamental principles like the established structures, procedures, powers, duties, and governmental institutions and set out the fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, and the duties of the citizen. It- Actually, India follows the parliamentary form of government, where the executive is accountable to the legislature, that is the Lok Sabha, whereas America follows the presidential system of the government. The preamble. India has some objectives which is embodied in the preamble. The preamble is the like the preamble to the constitution set out the goals of the Indian Republic. Okay, like we know that preamble, that is, we the people of India have solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure all its citizens justice that is social, economic, political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality that is equality of status, opportunity, and to promote among all them. And coming to fraternity assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. This is preamble. Like it is the basic. Preamble is the basic to our Indian constitution. Coming to like silent features, we have along all these silent features. Like what are those? It is a written document. It is partly rigid and partly flexible. It is a democratic. We have fundamental rights. We also have directive principles of state policy. We also have fundamental duties. India is a secular state. We have parliamentary form of government, that is quasi-federal and quasi-unitary, and we have single citizenship, and we have independent judiciary and some other independent constitutional bodies. Okay, coming to written constitution. First point, written constitution. We all know that at the inception of the constitution, we had 395 articles, 8 schedules. Now they are further enhanced. Like now there are around 444 articles and 12 parts. Sorry, 22 parts and 12 schedules. Okay, actually we had 395 articles, but with sub articles we have 444. Around 444 articles we have. This makes India as the largest written constitution in the world. So far we had 104th Constitutional Amendment Acts. Main of the like we have mainly derived from the Government of India Act 35, which is under British India. Like we have many provisions relating to the problems, peculiar problems in India, like for background regions or like scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. And we have elaborate provisions relating to central state relations concerning administrative, legislative, and financial aspects, and inclusion related to state administration also. We also have very foundational stone regarding fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, and other administrative procedures in the constitution itself. So it became very lengthy and written constitution in the world. Next, coming to partly rigid and partly flexible. Partly rigid and partly flexible. What it is? That means it is neither purely rigid nor purely flexible. Okay, it is blended of rigidity and flexibility. That means like some parts of the constitution can be amended by ordinary law. Then ordinary law making process of the parliament. Some can be amended through very strict laws, like passed by two-thirds of the majority of the total strength of the house. That is rigid. Flexible means like half of the total strength, half of the total strength of presented and voting. Some laws should be needed flexible, and some laws should be needed rigid. Okay, it is related to partly rigid and partly flexible. Next, coming to democratic and republic. We all know that India is a democratic and republic. That means the sovereignty is rests with the people of India. That means we do not need to take the suggestions of the foreign nations with respect to any agreements, which is internal or external. Okay, like they are based on universal adult franchise. That means we elect the people. Democratic means we elect the elected representatives through universal adult franchise. Mm. Next, that is democratic and republic. Whereas coming to fundamental rights, the Constitution of India, like the basic principle is to enjoy each and everyone rights. So the the government or the Constitutional Assembly mainly focused on fundamental rights. Okay, the fundamental rights consists is in part 3 of the Constitution, and articles is that article 12 to 31 all deals with fundamental rights. Originally we had 7 categories of rights, we all know that, and then we had removed through we had removed the right to property through 44th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1978. Like coming to those 7 categories of rights, first one is right to equality, second one is right to freedom, third one right against exploitation, fourth one right to freedom of religion, fifth one cultural and educational rights, sixth one right to constitutional remedies, seventh one is right to property. This right to property was deleted. That article is Article 31. Now it became a legal right, not a constitutional right. These fundamental rights are justifiable, and the individual can move to higher judiciary, that is the Supreme Court, High Court. If any of the fundamental rights has not been justified, then we can directly go to High Court and Supreme Court. This is guaranteed under Article 32, that is right to the constitutional remedies. However, we all know that the rights are not absolute. Okay, reasonable restrictions can be kept or imposed because of safety and security of the state or the nation. Everyone cannot guarantee all the rights. That's absolute in nature. There should be some restrictions, reasonable restrictions. Next, those are fundamental rights. We will further in detail little next chapters, fundamental rights. Next, coming to we will go briefly what are salient features of the Indian Constitution. Okay. Next, coming to directive principles of state policy. These directive principles of state policy is a novel feature of the Constitution. It was said by B.R. Ambedkar. The articles relating to directive principles of state policy are Article 36 to 51. Article 36 to 51 deals with the directive principles of state policy. These are the nature of directives of the government to establish for the socio-economic democracy of the country. For the socio-economic development of the people, the state should take into consideration of these directive principles of state policy. Like some of them of directive principles of state policies are like equal pay for both men and women, adequate means of livelihood, free and compulsory primary education, right to work, right to public assistance in case of old age, unemployment, sickness, and disablement, the organization of village panchayat, and UCC, Uniform Civil Code, and special care for economically backward sections of the people, etc. Why these directive principles are taking place means for the welfare of the state, for the Indian welfare. That means for the welfare of the people. These are very fundamental for the country to survive. Okay. Next, that's why this is called as directive principles of state. For states, it is a directive principles. Next, coming to fundamental duties. We all know that during starting, that means during the preparation of constitution, the fundamental duties are not there. It is added. It is added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1976. Okay, fundamental duties are added in 1976 through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act under Part 4 of the Indian Constitution. Okay, the article related to the fundamental duties are Article 51A. Article 51A. Next, coming to what are the duties? Some of the important duties are some of the important duties of of fundamental duties are like to abide by the constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, national flag and national anthem. Second important fundamental duty is to cherish and follow the noble ideas who inspired our national struggle for freedom. And third one, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India, and to defend the country and render national service when called upon, to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood amongst all people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional, or sectional diversities, to renounce practices of derogatory to dignity of women, to protect, to preserve and value the rich heritage of the composite culture of India, to protect and improve the natural environments. Like natural environments, we have forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife. Okay, we should all protect those natural environments. Next, to develop scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform, and to safeguard the public property and abjure violence. The last fundamental duty, which was further added, is to strive excellence towards excellence in all spheres of individuals and collective activity. Okay, all spheres of excellence. Strive towards excellence. These are some of the points relating to fundamental duties. Okay, next, coming to secular state. This secular state is added to the preamble by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, fundamental duties are also added through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Right to property is deleted through 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, that is 1978. Okay, the term secular is also added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1976. Because why? Because we will have neutral in matters of religions. Okay, you see, India is also land of many religions, we all know that. So to promote secularism and to make it official, India has added the secular word by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. This is because the India do not discriminate between individuals on the basis of religion. We are also fundamental rights related to religions also. Right to freedom of religion, we had right to freedom of religion, right to freedom of associations. All those we have seen in fundamental rights. Those are related to secular state. Next, coming to parliamentary system of government. India follows parliamentary system of government that is found in Britain, but America follows presidential form of government. That means there is no relation between the executive and legislature. Here, the executive is responsible for the legislature, that is Lok Sabha. It can be termed as parliamentary system of government. Here, in here, we had two houses. We all know the upper house. The upper house means Rajya Sabha, and we have the lower house. The lower house means Lok Sabha. That means the house of the people. We all know that here in parliamentary form of government, the executive is responsible to the legislature and remains power as long as they enjoys the confidence of the legislature. Okay. Here, the president of India is a like nominal or titular head who remains in the office. We all know that is 5 years. He is only for 5 years. Here, the powerful is the prime minister. The council of ministers headed by the prime minister is the real head. It is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. It is the main feature of the parliamentary system of government. Okay, if they lose their what we call strength, then their confidence, that is no confidence motion, then they should resign the entire council of ministers headed by prime minister. We all know the president is the nominal executive, and he will exercise his power based on the advice of the Union Council of Ministers. The Union Council of Ministers headed by prime minister is called as the real executives. So we can say that the state of the Indian administration is parliamentary form of government. Next, coming to quasi-unitary and quasi-federal. We all know that Article 1 of the Constitution mentions that India, that is Union of States. Okay, not Federation of States, that is Union of States, whereas US is Federation of States. Okay, that means Indian Constitution is federal but unitary in spirit. Most of them say in that way. We all know that the Constitution is the written Constitution. How we can say that is quasi-federal and quasi-unitary means, like explanation is like we had written Constitution, we had supremacy of the Constitution, we had rigidity of the Constitution, we had two government, that is central government and state government. We had division of powers between the legislative, executive, and judiciary. Then we have bicameralism. Then we have independent judiciary. All this makes us quasi-federal and quasi-unitary. Means that some powers are between central and there is division of powers between central and state. What is unitary? Unitary means all the powers are within the union government or central. What is federal? Federal means division of power. That is followed in USA. Okay, we can see both the central laws and state laws, that is union list, state list, concurrent list, all this comes under quasi-federal and quasi-unitary. We can say that bargaining federalism, or we can say that cooperative federalism. We have different names for our quasi-federal and quasi-unitary nature. Different authors call it as different names. Okay, next we have single citizenship. Next, we all know that India is recognizes only single citizenship. Unlike USA, they have dual citizenship. That means they are the citizens of the state and they are citizens of USA. Here we have only single citizenship, that is Indian citizenship. Okay, in United States there is a dual citizenship. We in India, we the citizens of India only, not the representatives of states. Why? Because this promotes the unity and integrity of the nation. To promote the unity and integrity of the nation, the Indian Constitution followed only single citizenship. Next, coming to independent judiciary. It is one of the main feature of the Constitution. Okay, independent judiciary. Why? Because it can make important decisions and can overthrow the decisions which are extra constitutional. The powers are more. If the powers are taken more by the legislation executive, then it is overpowered by the judiciary. So there is a need for independent judiciary in India. Okay. Here in judiciary, we all know that Supreme Court is the apex body in integral judicial system. We had a single integral judicial system where Supreme Court is the highest authority and it is divided by some branches like state high courts, next district courts. It is the main protector of fundamental rights of Indian citizens and guardian of the Constitution. Okay, its main function, two main functions is to protect fundamental rights and to act as guardian of the Constitution. Okay, we can see the many cases relating to the Supreme Court of India. How, if for suppose if any law passed by the legislature that is that contravenes the provisions of the Constitution, then the Supreme Court can declare that as null and void. Okay, this is called as the power of judicial review. The power of judicial review plays important role to contravene the Constitution of the provisions of the Constitution of India. Next, the final court of appeal has the constitutional review also. It can take the previous judgment into the Constitution and it cannot take the previous judgment into Constitution. It can be contradictory to each other. Okay, actually it consists of a Chief Justice of India and a total of 30 judges. That means we have total 31 judges in Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has the original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction, and advisory jurisdiction. All this we will learn in the Supreme Court only. Just we will go over the features of the Indian Constitution. The Supreme Court will have the extensive original jurisdiction with respect to the protection of fundamental rights of the citizens. It also acts as a court to settle disputes between various governments in the country. As an advisory court also, it hears some of the matters specifically referred under the constitution, like when it is referred by the president. If president want any what we call important decisions or matters to hear, then the judiciary, that is the high court, will listen to him and give advices. It can also can also have suo motu powers in some matters. Next, coming to some of the constitutional bodies, some of the important constitutional bodies regarding the constitutional framework. Okay, we all know that what are constitutional bodies means, which are mentioned in the those who have mentioned in the constitution is known as constitutional bodies. We also have extra constitutional bodies like Niti Aayog, okay, UGC. They are established by statutory grants or through the act of the parliament. Statutory acts. Okay. Next, coming to some of the important constitutional bodies. What are the important constitutional bodies means? The Election Commission, which looks after the elections in India. The UPSC, which looks after the recruitments. The Finance Commission, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, local governments. That means 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Acts. And the commissions for SCs, STs, and BCs. Okay, National Commission for SC, National Commission for ST, and National Commission for BC. All these are some of the important constitutional bodies which are mentioned in the Indian Constitution. We will look after the each and every body. Okay. Election Commission. See, why there is a need for separate election commission in India means, India, we all know that India is the largest democratic country in the world now, specifically. So there is a need to conduct free and fair elections and to supervise the elections, which have to be independent body, established by independent body under the Constitution of India. So the creators of the Constitution, that is the Legislative Assembly, that is the Constituent Assembly, had created separate election commission with respect to the elections, dealing with the elections, and to supervise, control, and direct the entire process of the parliament and the state legislative assemblies of their respective states. They will look after all the matters related to control, direction, and supervision of the electoral matters relating to all state and parliamentary elections. Okay, Election Commission of India became a permanent constitution body established in accordance to the Constitution on 25th January 1950. Just to remember the date, that is 25th January 1950. It has become a constitutional body. That means it is established on 25th January. We all know that it consists of Chief Election Commissioner and 2 election commissioners. Starting, we had only Chief Election Commissioner. In 1989, we had increased 2 more what we call election commissioners who supports the Chief Election Commissioner. Okay, this is related to Election Commission of India. Then coming to Union Public Service Commission. Here we will, what are the articles related to Union Public Service Commission means Article 323, Article 315 to Article 323, and Part 14 of the Indian Constitution deals with the UPSC, that is Union Public Service Commission. Okay, actually we can see the important Public Service Commission's reports under Lee Commission. Lee Commission was established in 1924, mainly for setting the Public Service Commission. Okay, what is the important body which recommended setting of Public Service Commission body means Lee Commission. Just remember it. That is in 1924. Okay, so this led to the establishment of first Public Service Commission on October 1st, 1926, under the chairmanship of Sir Ross Barker, which had some advisory function only, limited advisory functions only given to the Public Service Commission. This led to development of Federal Public Service Commission under Government of India Act 1935. Okay, see here we are seeing the evolution of the Union Public Service Commission. First, the Britishers had developed a committee, that is Lee Committee, Lord Lee Committee in 1924. It recommended a civil services body. Then through Government of India Act 1935, they established a Federal Public Service Commission. Then after the independence, we had changed the Federal Public Service Commission to Union Public Service Commission on 26 January 1950. The Election Commission was declared a constitutional body on 25th January. Here, the Union Public Service Commission has been declared as the constitutional body on 26 January 1950. Just one day after, the Election Commission has been declared as the constitutional body. Then Union Public Service Commission also declared. It will also enjoy some autonomy and freedom with respect to recruitment of civil servants. Next, coming to Finance Commission. Okay, Finance Commission, Finance Commission has came into existence in 1951. Like what is the article relating to Finance Commission is Article 280 and 281 related to Finance Commission of India. Like the main purpose of Finance Commission is, we all know that it deals with the financial relations between the center and the state. Okay, the Finance Commission, which is established in 1951, it tells some terms and conditions. That means terms of qualifications, appointments, disqualifications, tenures, eligibility, and powers of the members of the Finance Commission. Okay, in 1915 only they derived all those things to maintain the efficiency and independence from the government. Okay, we all know that the commission is appointed for every 5 years. For every 5 years, a Finance Commission is appointing, which consists of one chairman and 4 other members. In Election Commission, we had one chairman and 2 members. Here in Finance Commission, we had one chairman and 4 members. It gives recommendations to the center about devolution of local taxes. That is, devolution of taxes, on what basis the taxes should be done, what are the ways to improve the tax resources for the states. It gave you recommendations also. It can also, the Finance Commission can also recommend like policy incentives for the state finance commissions also, if President approves. Okay, so far we had 15 Finance Commission. Now we are going with the 16th Finance Commission. Next, we had Comptroller and Auditor General of India. We will call him as CAG of India. CAG of India is also established under Constitution of India. Okay, the articles relating to the CAG is Article 148, Article 149, Article 150, and Article 151. That means Article 148 to 151 deals with the CAG, that is Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Next, see the status of CAG, that is Comptroller and Auditor General of India, is same as Judge of the Supreme Court of India. Okay, he will look after the all receipts and expenditure of the Government of India and state governments, including like some of the offices like which is substantially funded or financed by government. All the bodies will be all those bodies auditing, expenditure, receipts, all of those will be done by the comptroller and the auditor general, CAG. It is like a external auditor. It is like an external auditor of the government, of its own corporations also. It also conducts some supplementary audit of government companies. Okay. Next, the reports of the CAG. Here, the CAG will give reports. Okay, it reports was taken into consideration by some other committees, like we have PAC, Public Accounts Committee. Okay, the reports have been taken into consideration by the PAC. Then it will look after the reports given by the CAG. The CAG is the head of the Indian Audit and Accounts Department. Okay, here the President of India appoints the CAG on the recommendation of the Prime Minister. Okay, he will also take the oath and affirmation. Here, the Finance Commission also appointed by the President on the recommendation of Prime Minister. Coming to the local governments. Coming to the local governments, we all know that local governments. Local government means 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. We will all deal with 73rd and we are 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act came into force on the year 1992. 1992, we had gone through LPG reforms also. Okay, here also 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, which granted constitutional status to Panchayat Raj system. Okay, why? Because to give uniformity in the structure, to give autonomy to the local governments. Like uniformity in the structure means we had three structures, like state, central state. In state, we had three structures, three-tier structure. That is state government, district, mandal, and village. We should have three forms of three-tier system. Okay, to establish a what we call uniformity in every state, they have recommended local self-government. That is 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. And in this act, they have gone in detail, like they should be like 5 years, for every 5 years, there should be periodical elections. There should be periodical state finance commission recommendations also. There should be like periodical reviews. There should be periodical reviews also. After 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, like the Gram Panchayat also got some powers, but most of the state governments has not granted like autonomy to the village. That is another issue. But the central government main aim is to provide autonomy and functional autonomy to the villages. Okay, and we know that 74th Constitutional Amendment Act deals with the municipalities, that means urban governance, and 73rd is rural governance. 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act also enacted in 1993 for urban local bodies. Okay, the act also laid foundation for like devolution of funds, next functions and functionaries to urban local bodies. That means urban planning, water supply, public health, fire services, and slum area improvement all will deals with the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, these are related to some local self-government. Next, coming to the commissions. What are the commissions are related to? Commissions related to SCs, STs, and BCs. Okay, the first commission related to SC, STs was set up in the year 1978 as with Bola Paswan Shastri as chairman. And we had other 4 persons also. Same as Finance Commission. In Finance Commission, we had 1 member and 1 chairman and 4 persons. Here in National Commission for SC and ST, actually it is in 1. Okay, in 1989, it is changed to the 89th Constitutional Amendment Act. there is a division, that is National Commission for SC and National Commission for ST. In 2008, that is 89th Constitutional Amendment Act in 2003, it is changed to two bodies, that is National Commission for SC and National Commission for ST. There are two separate bodies. Till then, it is National Commission for SC and National Commission for SC and ST. It will look after the important to provide safeguards against the exploitations of SCs and to promote and protect for their social, economic, educational, and cultural interests, which are specially mentioned in the constitutional. Okay, all those for their development only. This National Commission for SC and National Commission for ST have been established. Okay, the first National Commission for SC was constituted on 2004 with Suraj Bhan as the chairperson. There, the chairperson for National Commission for SC and ST is first chairman is for both National Commission for SC and ST is set up in 1978. That is Paswan Shastri. Here separately we had National Commission for SC in 2004. Why? Because through 89th Constitutional Amendment Act 2003 we have division. Next, coming to National Commission for ST. Okay, through 89th Constitutional Amendment Act on 19th February 2004, the National Commission for Scheduled Tribe has been set up. Okay, National Commission for SC is under Article 338. Article 338A deals with National Commission for Scheduled Tribe, and Article 338B deals with the National Commission for BCs. Just remember, B means BCs, National Commission for BC, backward classes. That means 338B. Okay, this article has been derived from Article 338A. Next, National Commission for BC. National Commission for BC is a statutory body established as a statutory body in 1992. Okay, through the case called Indra Sahani and others versus Union of India. In this report, the Supreme Court directed to establish a separate body for OBCs, and there is a list should be enclosed with those OBCs. This led to the National Commission for Backward Classes as a permanent body. Okay. Here we had gone to some of the National Commission for SC, ST, and BCs. Same, we had one chairman and 4 persons. All the bodies structures are same here. Okay. Next, we will go briefly. The salient features of the constitution includes all these parts, like lengthiest written constitution. We will have partly rigid and partly flexible government. That means rigid means that 2/3 of the total strength of the some of the provisions should be passed by 2/3 of the total strength of the house, and some provisions relating to the constitution will be passed by simple majority, that is 50% of the strength of the total present and voting, that is flexible government. We can see these both features in our constitution. Next, we know that India is a democratic and republic. The head of the country is elected by the universal adult franchise. Next, we all know that we have many fundamental rights. We have directive principles of state policy, fundamental rights to promote political democracy in the country. Directive principles of state policy is to promote social and economic democracy in the country. Next, we have directive fundamental duties. And then we are a secular state. Secular state and fundamental duties are added through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Then we all know that India is parliamentary system of government. Parliament system of government is nothing but it is like the executive is responsible to the Lok Sabha. Okay, not parliament. The executive responsible to the Lok Sabha. It is one of the main feature on the parliamentary system of government. There is a titular head And titular means there is nominal head and there is real head. The nominal head is the president, whereas the real head is the prime minister, headed by the council of ministers, headed by the prime minister. Then we add, then there is quasi-unitarian, quasi-federal. We all know that. The India is blended with, we have what we call cooperative federalism. You can also call it as bargaining federalism. That means we had some features relating to the union government and state government. Like for example, we had central list, we had state list, we had concurrent list. In that way, we can call that India is a quasi-federal and quasi-unitary in nature. And single citizen. We all know that India is a single citizen. India had a single citizenship, that is Indian citizenship only. And we had independent judiciary to not to overflow the laws made by the parliament, not to override the laws made by the parliament with respect to the constitution of India. Next, coming to constitutional bodies, we have dealt with constitutional bodies like election commission, union public service commission, finance commission, CAG, and 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment acts, commissions for national commissions for SCs, STs, and BCs. This is the chapter related to unit 3. Okay, so that we can say that all these points have led for the foundation of stable and efficient. Till now, the government has been in function due to the foundations laid by the Constituent Assembly in 1947 itself. Okay, all this makes Indian Constitution as a stable and efficient administration. Okay, next we will briefly go to next chapter and block 2, that is legislature, executive, and judiciary. Fourth unit, we will just briefly go into it. Thus, we had legislative, executive, and judiciary, its structures and functions. Next, how each legislature, executive, and judiciary is performed their functions, and what are their functions. All this we will deal with in this chapter. Okay, we will have legislature. We will learn about the structure of the legislature and what are the functions of the legislature. Then we have executive. In executive, we will learn about the functions of the executive and the structures of the executive. Same types of the executive. What are the different types of the executive? Then coming to judiciary, we will learn about the structure of the judiciary. Just we have learned how Supreme Court, High Court, and district courts are there. In the same way, we will learn about the structure and what are the functions. We will learn in detail. In unit 3, we will just go on the constitutional framework, the broad area. Okay, only broadly we have gone. Then we will in detail look what are the powers of the legislature, what are executive and judiciary. Here we go in detail. Okay, coming to some here some introduction part. We all know that the government activities, the government itself, the government means it has 3 main organs, that is the legislature, the executive, and judiciary. What is legislature? The legislature is which make the laws or which make the public policies for the welfare of the people. Okay, here the executive will looks after the implementation, whether the public policies are correctly implemented or not, whether they benefit the people, the poorest of the poor or not. All these activities are done by the executive. Then what will the judiciary will do? The judiciary will interpret the laws. Okay, whether the laws are within the framework of the that means within the framework of the constitution or not, within the framework regulation, rules and regulations or not, is checked. It is a balance and check way. All these 3 acts as balance and checks within their 3 organs of the state. Okay, here mainly it is the legislature is called as the policy making body of the country. It makes the policies, enactments, and it can also amend the laws. The amendment should not disturb the internal or what we call internal structure of the constitution. For example, National Judicial Appointment Committee. Okay, the legislature tried to force the National Judicial Appointment Committee. It was declared as ultra vires or null and void by the judiciary. Okay, the policies or the amendments framed by the legislature should be within the framework of the Constitution of India. It should not disturbance the authority or power and authority or independence of any other bodies, of any other constitutional bodies. Okay, next, the executive. The executive consists of who? The president, the prime minister, the cabinet ministers. Okay, all these three includes the executive. How these executives will work? We will look after the executive powers of the president, prime minister, and council of ministers. All we will this in the next chapter. Next, we all know that the judiciary will deals with the administration of justice. It is also called as guardian. We all just learn about it. It is known as the guardian of the constitution. Okay, we all know that Supreme Court is the highest court of appeal and highest level. Then it is followed by the high courts, and we had some different subordinate courts at the district levels. Okay, coming to some of the points relating to here each. Why? Because why we divided this means we will have the separate and independent powers and the responsibilities for each and every organ. There must be checks and balances. Without the checks and balances, if we have powers, all the powers relating to one body only, then it will dominate the whole policy making process. It will make the policies with respective to their advantage only. So there is the separation of powers. So there is a need. So there is a need for the separation of powers, which is mentioned in the Constitution. Okay, how this powers and structures has been maintained, how this separation of powers, how the balance has been maintained, it will be look after next. You look after into next thing, that is the legislature, executive, and judiciary. In legislature, we all know that what is legislature means the parliament. Okay, the parliament is the legislative organ of the Indian government. Okay, in the legislature, what we will have according to the constitution, what we will have means Indian parliament consists of the parliament like president, Rajya Sabha, and Lok Sabha. Okay, the Rajya Sabha consists of the council of states, and the Rajya Sabha is called as the council of states. That means the representatives of the different states is selected in the council of states, that is Rajya Sabha. Then we have Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha means house of the people. Here the representatives are directly elected by the people. Just to keep remember, they are indirectly elected, they are directly elected. Lok Sabha members are directly elected, Rajya Sabha members are indirectly elected. Here, just remember that the president is not the member of either house. That means the Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. He is not the member of Rajya Sabha and he is not the member of the Lok Sabha. But he is also part and parcel of the legislature. He will look after the what we call Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Is just integral part. He does not sit. He does not sit in either house of the in either houses or meetings, but he is an integral part of the parliament. Next, coming to the structure. Structure means council of states. Coming to first one, the council of states. We all know that the council of states means Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha is the upper house of the parliament. What is its strength? Its strength is 250. Okay, 250. In that 250, 238 are the representatives of the states. That means the states will elect the 238 members. Next, coming to remaining 12 members, this remaining 12 members are nominated by the president. Okay, among the persons, the 12 members will be the amongst from the different fields such as literature, science, or art or social service, like Sudhamurthy, Sachin Reddy. All of those are elected through this only. Okay, president will elect 12 members. Nominate 12 members. Okay, all these the seats arrangements related to Rajya Sabha has been mentioned in which schedule? In fourth schedule. In fourth schedule, it is had been widely explained about the allocation, seat allocation to the state and union territory. Here, the election is in accordance to proportional representation by means of single transferable vote in Rajya Sabha. Okay. Here, that we all know that the term of office of Rajya Sabha member is 6 years, and for every 2 years, one third of the members of the total members will be retired. Okay. What is the quorum? Quorum of the meeting. Quorum means the minimum strength to attend any meeting. That is quorum. Okay. What is the minimum strength to attend the Rajya Sabha meetings? Means 1/10 of the total members of the house. 1/10 means 250 by 10. That is minimum 25 members should be present to what we call to conduct the meeting. Okay. 1/10 of the strength of the total strength. Here we will here the president of, we call him as chairperson. The chairperson of Rajya Sabha is the vice president of India. Just remember, not the president of India. Here, the vice president of India acts as the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Okay. He also elects one deputy chairperson from amongst its members. One deputy chairperson also will be elected. You know that when in the absence of the chairperson, this deputy chairman will act as the chairman. Next, coming to House of the People. House of the People means we know that it is a Lok Sabha or lower house. Here, the maximum strength is 552. We all know that. 552. In that, 530 are elected. 530. Yeah. In that, 530 are elected as the representatives of the states of the India, and 13 as elected through union territories, and 2 are nominated into Anglo-Indian community. Here, this is eliminated. Now there is no taking 2 Anglo-Indians. It is amended through 105th Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay. Here, the meetings of the Lok Sabha is presided by Speaker. The Speaker is elected from the Lok Sabha itself. He is a chairperson of all the meetings headed by the Lok Sabha. Okay, he is assisted by the Deputy Speaker. Okay, in the absence of Speaker, Deputy Speaker takes all the what we call presides all the meetings. Will take all the responsibilities of the House by Deputy Speaker. Just remember those. Council of States and House of the People. Next, relating to the functions and the executive and types of the executive judiciary, we will learn in the next class. Okay. Thank you. If you have any doubts, yeah, you can go. Okay, then. Thank you.